Guys, we are back. Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. As always, it is so great to see you. Friends, obviously you can see I'm not in my studio. I'm out and about running some errands. More specifically, I'm shipping some packages out today. But today's an exciting day, which is why the camera's running. Not only do we have cloud coverage, and remember that my sunset app that I've brought up on the channel here a couple times is showing 89%. Now, if you're not familiar with how that works with my sunset, it goes from 0, which is crappy chances for a good color, up to 100. 89 is pretty badass. So I'm excited because, hey, there should be some really good colors, and I have the afternoon open, which means I have time to get out. Specifically, time to get out with a new toy that arrived yesterday. This is something I'm super excited about. I now have a new toy in my camera bag, and what makes this toy so special is I haven't had one of these in some time. Last year I did a video on a particular lens, a particular focal length, and I was saying is a must-have. It's a focal length that, for myself, I consider a must-have. It's not a lens that I use often, but when I do use it, it grounds you, it recalibrates your compass, it makes you to work and appreciate the shots that you get much more. And what I'm referring to, of course, is the good old faithful nifty 50. And this is the Canon RF 1.8 that Canon announced last month. This is replacing the EF version of the 1.8 that has been a staple in so many Canon shooters camera bags for a very long time. Gotta make sure I don't pass up the post office here. So this is a little bit more. The EF version, I believe, was 125 bucks. This was 225 or 225 bucks. I forgot what I paid for it from. But you know what, surprisingly, now all my other glasses all L, and you kind of get used to that build quality. I mean, the L glass, as I've been now coming on to a full, wow, this is my year anniversary with Canon. Wow, I just had that realization point there. But anyways, you get accustomed to the quality that the RF lens mounts or the L glass has, and this is not. But for a $225 lens, it's not bad. You know, I have to say, this little lens cap, look at that thing right there. It's cute, isn't it? It has a 43 millimeter filter threads on the front of this thing, and you know what? The build quality for something at this price range, it's actually better than what I thought it was. It's kind of grippy, it feels nice. I can't wait to get it on the R5 and the R6. Now, when it came in yesterday, full disclosure, I shot a few shots in my studio just playing around with it, and it looks pretty stinking awesome. So I think today I'm gonna bring this with me down to wherever I go. I think I may go to the pier up in Huntington Beach. That's one of my favorite shooting places. I may go to, good Lord, look at that. Oh. Looking at the parking lot in the post office, which looks like a madhouse. Well, you know what? If the line's not too bad, we're going to go in there. If that looks pretty nasty, I may come back tomorrow morning at a more suitable time, because it is 2:30 right now. The sun's going to go down. I think it's at 4:46. That's top priority right now. I want to be able to get over there and photograph what I think could be some pretty awesome colors. Hopefully this line's not going to be too bad here. But anyway, that's it. I'm going to keep this part brief. Ironic, because I think I've been jibber-jabbering for a few minutes about this, but this is the new toy that I'm super excited about. It will now be the cheapest, most inexpensive lens by a large stretch in my bag, but it's one that I'm going to appreciate the most. So I'm going to go ship off some stuff, or try to ship off some stuff, and then we'll pick back up as we're heading to wherever we're going to go shooting today. Well, we made it down here, and I think this is going to be an epic sunset. And look what we got right here. Got a little rainbow action going on right here. But I've lucked out on a parking spot. And again, I'm down on Laguna Beach. Look at this, absolutely gorgeous. Nice dark clouds over there. I seem to remember a few years back I shot down here once. Honestly, I don't remember whether or not it was a great shot, but there's a mechanic shop up there that I vaguely remember doing something with. I think there's an arch over here. Actually, there is. I can see it. But yeah, this should be pretty awesome. It is about a half hour before the sun goes down, which means I'll grab my shots here, haul ass to go pick up my son. I'll make it. We're here, and it is looking pretty darn awesome. Almost fell backwards. Put a lot of weight in this thing right now. A lot of large waves. A lot of very interesting rocks. This should make a very interesting sunset. As you can see, the sun is just about ready to go down. I get my hand over here where it needs to be. Rainbow's disappearing. All the dark ominous clouds are going to be right over there, which I think I'm going to have a camera set up over this direction and another one facing southbound to be able to get some of those oranges along with some of the possible dark colors in the clouds if it hangs around. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. Okay guys, this has turned out to be a page torn out of the, well, it didn't work out book. The colors did not come nowhere near what I was hoping for. The cloud coverage on the very horizon there blocked the sun from illuminating these clouds that you see right over through here, which otherwise would have been absolutely badass. I have the R6 pointed that direction, and then I had the R5 right here pointing towards this direction. The R5 would have been really cool. I have the 1535 on there. I have the Polar Pro reverse grad, as well as the polarizer. There's this body of water right here that would have been really badass, assuming we would have gotten some orange colors in the sky or reds or something like that. That reflection would have been amazing. Well, at least we got to come down here and play around with the 50 mil, and I think I might have gotten a shot or two that might be interesting enough. If I did, I'm going to post it here in the video. I'm going to start packing up here in a minute. Actually, I'm going to try to get a couple more shots in, and then we'll head on back. All right, guys, before we dive into my impressions of this lens, let's quickly review its technical specs and also talk about how it compares to the EF 50mm 1.8. It's obviously a small, compact lens. It weighs only 5.6 ounces and it is 2.72 by 1.59 inches in size. Now, this is not an image stabilized lens, but you can get up to 7 stops of shake correction if you're using the lens with, for example, a R5 or other R cameras with IBIS. Now, there is a 7-blade aperture, which gives you a really nice looking bokeh. The stepping motor is ultra smooth. It also provides continuous autofocus when shooting photos or video. Now, the minimum focus distance is only 0.98 feet and the maximum magnification is 0.25x. Now, if you haven't noticed here, it does have this little dainty, tiny 43mm filters on the front of this thing. Or that you can put on the front of it, rather. So really, at the end of the day, this lens has all the features that you need and really nothing that you don't. It's a classic nifty 50 that's going to be very versatile addition to your camera bag, and the best part about it, without breaking the budget. Now, speaking of nifty 50, let's see how the RF version compares to the EF version. They look very similar. They are virtually the same size and weight. Build quality is essentially the same as well. Very plasticky, but super lightweight with a small form factor. They both have metal mounts as well. The RF lens focus rings works more smoothly than the EF. Now, the RF lenses also have a control ring functionality, so you can use the ring to adjust things like aperture, ISO, exposure compensation, and a whole bunch of other things. Now, the EF lens has a AF to MF switch for easy manual focusing. Now, the RF lens doesn't have this, so if you want to manually focus, you have to make the adjustments in the camera's menu. Now, the EF version has a 49mm filter, whereas the RF version uses a much smaller 43mm filter. Image quality seems to be pretty similar at 1.8. Now, the center sharpness is essentially equal, with the RF lens appearing to have just a tad bit more contrast. Image quality degrades as you move out towards the edges of the frame. Now, the RF lens shows a bit more contrast on the edges as well. Throughout the aperture range, the RF and EF lenses are pretty similar in terms of
sharpness in the middle. The RF lens outperforms the EF lens in the edge sharpness and contrast throughout the image. Now, the improved contrast in the RF lens is due to the part of the addition of the spherical lens element. Now, really, in the end, this lens is very similar with a slight edge going to the RF lens in terms of sharpness, image quality, and guys, this includes lens barrel distortion, less vignetting, less ghosting, and flare than the EF version. When you think about it, given how insanely successful the EF version of this lens has been for the last 30 years for Canon or so, I'm gonna say it's probably a good thing that the RF version is so darn similar. All right, let's talk about some pros and cons, and of course, we're gonna start with some pros. This thing is only $200, so the first pro that I'm going to talk about here is price. It's really hard to beat a $200 price tag on this. Now, the image quality is fantastic for the price. Now, just know, this is not going to compete with L series lenses, but still gives you great quality. And if you haven't noticed here, this thing is super small, lightweight, and it's portable. So it's easy to add to your camera bag without having to take something else out. Now, closing off the pros, it's enormously versatile. It's fast, great indoor and outdoor for shooting portraits, landscapes, video, friend, you name it. Now, let's talk about some of the cons with this lens here. The plastic construction does feel cheap. Again, it doesn't compare to the L series lenses, but it's not intended to be that level either. The autofocus is a little bit slow, at least compared to higher end RF lenses, but that shouldn't be a big surprise since this is a budget lens. And the autofocus is a tad noisy. Not super loud, but it is a concern when you are shooting video. And friend, let's just be clear here. I know I'm nitpicking with some of these cons because at the end of the day, this isn't a high-end lens, so it shouldn't expect to have the look and feel and perform like one. At the same time, it's important to note that, guys, these are minor annoyances, so you can make more informed, make a more educated decision whether or not to buy one of these lenses. Ultimately, at the end of the day, my opinion, guys, I think this is a fantastic lens that any EOS R shooter should have in their camera bag. And of course, 50mm 1.8 lens for $200. Man, it is hard to go wrong with that. Now, I do want to wrap up today's video by reminding you that our last giveaway has just ended. And of course, this week I'm going to be announcing the winners during the next few days and also going to be announcing the prizes we're going to have lined up for our next giveaway, which is going to start later this month. Well, there you go, guys. First impressions of a brand new shiny little budget-friendly toy in my camera bag. If you found some value in this video, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. If you are currently not subscribed to the channel, well, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you part of the family. And last but not least, kick that bell to be notified each time that we come out with a new video. All right, my friends, I'm gonna be jumping out of here. You get out there, stay healthy, and create your best shot.